All right. I see now that there is the meeting has started to record. Miss Lyons, are you there? If you're there, you're muted. Um, was the agenda sent out to all of the guests and everyone who is participating in this meeting tonight?
I'm here. Everything was sent out.
So several, Mr. Adams as well as I haven't seen them as yet. Is it something that
Mr. Lewis, I attached you when I sent out the mailing to everybody. It was the minutes and the agenda. That was sent out last week, and I did a reminder today because I was off yesterday.
okay? Miss Lyons, which email did you send it to?
CB17 Public Safety and Transportation. The CB17 Transportation one.
So, well, Miss Lyons, maybe there's a glitch or something happened. Could you resend it again, please?
Okay, I'll send it again.
Thank you.
Did anyone else receive it?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. I wasn't able to open it though. This time.
All right. So, well, while we're waiting to get the agenda, I'll just go with the chairman's report. There were two incidents. So I'll start off with public safety. There were two shooting incidents. One that involved a police officer, which was on 52nd Street and Church Avenue between Church Avenue between 53rd and 52nd Street. There is a Shotokan karate school. The incident happened, I believe, on Mother's Day, early morning Mother's Day. So that's Saturday night into Sunday morning. There is not much information because it is a police shooting and the gentleman was shot and killed. So the CEOs and the correspondents, Detective Pierre, Detective Skinner, as reported last night in the Commerce Committee, as well as from the General Board meeting, which was last Wednesday. There was, there's not enough information to find out what's happening. There was another shooting on 53rd Street and Clarkson. If anybody knows that area over there, it was at the corner bodega or shop, right around the corner from the greenhouse. For those folks that know about the greenhouse, the Grenadian, the job and stuff that happens on Labor Day, there is still questions to find out what happened in that. So it's, it's ongoing. Now, just to make people aware, we know it's the summertime. We know that there are, it's getting hotter. Today, as you could see, we went up to 85 degrees. And at this point in time, some people are not in the right frame of mind. They're not thinking correctly. You don't know where they are in their thought process. De-escalation is the key. As much as you can in your power, de-escalate a situation. If you can't walk away, get away. If you can't, unless your back is against the wall, there's always an opportunity to get away from a situation. And it might be better to do that. My father had a saying, you could be dead right. Okay? And in this day and age, with a lot of the stressors in the community, especially, coming down to economic wise, you're not sure who is in the right frame of mind, and anything could trip them off. In the same way, you're driving your car, be mindful of road rage incidents. There was an incident, I think last month or month before, where a gentleman gave a truck driver a bad drive in the Bronx or in Queens. The gentleman actually chased down the guy all the way into Harlem, in which they were engaged in a physical altercation. Okay, it's getting crazy like that. So for all the drivers, for all the people in public transportation, we're hearing about the instances that's going on. Protect yourself, be aware of your surroundings. So that's on the public safety. Other public safety things to be mindful of. Just be careful of all of these calls, these robocalls, and things that's been happening. Be mindful with your emails. I got a security check because I have a check process or two-stage process with my email, that somebody was trying to access my email in Nigeria. Okay, so I want you all to be very mindful of that, especially the folks that are not that tech savvy, that are, older in age. They are targeting folks like that. They would call you, tell you something happened, or something happened to a family member of yours, and the first thing is to get frantic and help. Gauge and find out what's going on. They are taking advantage of a lot of people. So, just be mindful with the scams. This is a number you don't know, you're not aware of, you don't know who the person is. Do not answer the phone with yes. If they ask you your name, ask them why you're asking the name, what is this in reference to. Do not answer the phone saying yes or no or anything like that, because they will use that as a distinction and say that you agreed to something you didn't agree to. They're getting very, how I could say, technical and aggressive in that manner. So again, it's just being mindful of that. On the transportation front, I know a lot of folks are up in arms about the congestion pricing that is going to happen. I think there are a couple more court cases, but it's still on. The date for it to start, which is June 30th, is still the date. So whatever preparations you need, if you happen to have to go into Manhattan anywhere under 60th Street, and you do not have, how I could put this, some type of waiver that will be granted on a limited basis based on your specific medical or whatever need that you have, you will be paying that price. So I think it's $15 for cars, it's $31 for trucks. If you have an Easy Pass, it is a little bit less, but again, and it's between the hours of 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. that will be enforced. and all other time between 9 to 5, I think the fee goes down to like $375. So you know, if you work in the city, if you have doctor's appointments in the city, start thinking of ways to minimize your costs. If you have to take the subway, I know a lot of people are afraid of the subway based on the shooting incidents in the subway and all the things that's going on in the subway, but they are leaning towards that. There are express buses that could be used instead of the subway. Maybe that's something to look into. I mean, they're a little more costly, but these are the ways that the congestion pricing, you could try to offset that cost. If you have to drive, there are access to waivers, but they are going to really scrutinize the folks that are getting access to waivers for that congestion pricing. So besides that, that really ends my report, public safety and transportation. Is there any questions? Is there? All right.
Yes.
Did everyone receive the agenda?
No. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Get this phone.
Ms. Lyons would have forwarded the meeting notes from last month, as well as the agenda for tonight. Ms. Lyons, do we have roll call, or do we have quorum to vote on the minutes?
Yeah, this is all a misunderstanding.
No.
We don't. Okay, so then we'll table that. Miss Bennett, I see your hand raised.
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, what happened to that shooting that happened, I believe, this Sunday or Monday at Utica in church?
The last night in the Commerce meeting, Detective Skinner did bring up that that was actually between possibly two friends. They did go and search all of the hospitals for anyone that came in with a gunshot wound. They didn't find anyone. So it seemed as though the incident happened in the early morning Saturday, I believe. And from that incident, there was no one no one seemed to have come to the cops to speak about that incident, as well as the cops did do a check on all of the nearby hospitals, or all of the hospitals, I think in Brooklyn, to find out if anybody came in with a gunshot wound or anything like that. And it wasn't, they were not successful in finding that. So up right now, it's still up in the air. They're not too sure of who the assailants are, and they're not too sure of what the situation really entailed. They're just going based off of maybe some of what was said by some of the bystanders and some witnesses, but they are still investigating.
There's just too many shootings going on now. Way too many. This is not good. But thank you.
Okay. Let me go across. Anybody else's hands up? If not, so everyone, we could just look back at the minutes The Writers Alliance, for those who weren't here last month, that's a very big proponent and a very big group that if you don't know about them, you should research them. They have been pushing and advocating for the public's right in terms of access, ADA compliance, and so forth. They have been instrumental in pushing for more of the elevators and those construction, in particular, those infrastructure construction for the elevators at all of the subway, stops, right? So continuing, if there's no more questions,
Mr. Lewis?
yes, Mr. Tate.
Yeah, I see Miss Silcott have her hands up. I don't know if you could see that.
Who is that?
Marjorie Silcott. Her hands are up. It's been up for a little while.
Okay. Ms. Silcott.
No, I don't have my hands up. I don't know why it's showing that.
Okay. So maybe you just pressed it by mistake.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Yes, but thank you, Mr. Tate. Mhm.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
So tonight I'm not seeing Detective Pierre or Detective Skinner as yet. I don't know if they will be coming on. But we do have on the agenda let's see. We do have on the agenda a street co-naming. Are the folks for that street co-naming, are they here?
Yes, that's my reason for being here.
Okay, very good. So Mr. Stevens is here. The street co-naming for Chantel Davis Way.
Correct.
Okay, so Mr. Stevens, you go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody's time this
I'm
evening.
sorry, did we do that without quorum?
What's that?
Should we do this without having quorum on this call now?
We could do it. What will happen? It will just be like a reference vote, and then we will carry it to the general board. Because we don't have quorum in the meeting, we are able to maybe cast a reference vote, and then still carry it to the board to be voted on by the board as a whole. So we could still have the presentation, and then it hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm still here. Yes.
No, I was referring to the person who asked the question.
Oh, no, I'm here. That was, someone else was not muted.
Okay, very well. All right. Yeah, so Mr. Stevens, you go ahead.
All right. Well, I would like to open to say that I'm glad to speak briefly on this again when there is a quorum. If I'll make myself available because this is very important to me to see East 35th Street renamed Chantel Davis Way. I am a community educator here in the neighborhood high schools since 1996, where I started my career at Erasmus Hall in the humanities school. I worked for a time at Paul Robeson High School on Albany Avenue, and now I'm at Brooklyn Technical High School. So on East 38th Street in Church Avenue, I don't live far from there. I lived on Winthrop Street between Flatbush and Bedford, since 2002. So, on the day that Chantel Davis was killed um, um, by NYPD, I heard about it through friend networks, and I made my way over there. I had heard about so many similar instances in my neighborhood over the years, and when I hear about a young person um, caught up out there, I do feel as an educator somehow that our schools um, fail to do our job. And so I wanted to be present. And so I believe that the street naming of Chantel is really in memory of all the movement and positivity that has come from the terrible circumstances of her killing. Hundreds of people have signed letters of support, given their signature to agree. Local people that to agree that they would support this street renaming at East 38th and Church. I myself remember in the weeks and months after the shooting, going into the neighboring apartment buildings, going upstairs to the windows that look down on the scene of her demise, and neighbors and people saying, yes, of course I'll tell you what happened. Yes, of course I will go to court. Yes, of course what happened was wrong. And so, from the first summer when I emceed the Hoops for Justice basketball tournament, we made sure that along with recognizing all the young people, many of whom were Chantel's friends, as they made their baskets, we also recognized the positivity that we came out there year after year with no incidents whatsoever. It was a respectful and peaceful gathering for many years that has continued since Chantel's passing. I believe it was in 2012 now. It's been so long. And so, I think that the street naming is just a recognition of the positivity that came from this negative event. That's how I would sum it up. There has been a positive response, a positive legacy from this terrible event. So it will be 12 years in just a few weeks, right there in the middle of June, right around June. I want to say 15th or 16th is what I recall, being roughly the time that Chantel died. And so, from beyond, the grave, she has become a community leader through all the works that her family has done. My family has done. I've taken my children out to the memorials for Chantel. I've been to her gravesite, along with Natasha, her sister, who, I met you, Natasha, of course, the day or the day after your sister was killed. And, your strength has, continued to be a, inspiration for me. And so I'm glad to just be here now and say a few words as to why I think East 38th and Church should be renamed Chantel Davis Way. And I'm, of course, available to come back. I'll make myself present any other time that this needs to be discussed, because it's very important to remember the positivity that can come from such a tragic, terrible crime, against our community. So thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Is there any comment or anyone that wants to say anything or address Mr. Stevens?
Yes, this is George Tate. Yes, my question is for the benefits of those who are not familiar with the event.
I can't hear. Huh? What you saying?
Hold on, Mr. Tate.
Yes.
Miss Lavelle, can you mute, please? You're not
Gloves?
muted.
What kind of gloves?
Miss Lavelle, Miss Kathy Lavelle, can you
Oh,
mute?
no. That is in the kitchen. No. We had to take that out the room. So we got to put that somewhere. Tomorrow when I come, I got to put that somewhere.
Miss Lavelle,
Oh, yeah. Golf
Miss
put
Lyons,
those
can
up
you
too.
mute Miss Lavelle,
That's our
please?
stuff. That's our stuff. Yeah. In the back. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm in a Zoom meeting. All right. Oh, that's somebody calling. Lord. Did you lock the gate for me?
Miss Lavelle,
Valen.
Miss Lavelle, can you mute, please?
Oh, God. Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Tate.
Yes, for the benefits of those who are unfamiliar with the event, would you be able to like expand or explain the circumstances of her death and what happened and how was she killed and so forth?
Chantel Davis was, to my understanding, driving eastbound and was being pursued by an unmarked, unidentified vehicle, which was driving very aggressively towards and around her, and forced her off the road. That's my understanding of what happened. From her perspective, and was forced off the road, and a gentleman came up to her.
Mr. Stevens, let me say
Yes,
something.
please, Natasha.
Let me, I just saw,
Miss Lavelle, can you please mute? Miss Lyons, can you give me control so I could mute Miss Lavelle, please?
Yeah, because I don't know how to do it. I'm doing it, but it's not.
Miss Lyons, can you mute Miss Lavelle, please?
I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were of a bear, his mouth as of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and power.
Miss Lyons, can you please mute Miss Lavelle, please?
His heads, as if it were wounded to death. And his deadly wound there was healed. All the world and they worshiped the dragon. You can still hear?
Yes, Miss Lavelle, are you on your
You
cell
can still
phone?
hear?
Yes.
I don't hear.
Are you on your cell phone?
And they were given unto their mouth speaking great things. Blasphemous. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Miss Lyons,
You know what? Can you hear me?
I'm truly sorry. Yes, Miss Lavelle, we could hear you. We've been hearing you for the past almost 10-15 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna go upstairs.
You have to mute. You have to mute or you have to do something because We're trying to continue the meeting. Okay, thank you, Miss Lovell. You just muted yourself. Very good. Stay there. Don't turn it back on. You just muted yourself. Do that one
Okay,
more time, please. Do one more time.
don't touch nothing. Huh?
No, no, no. Mute yourself. Mute yourself. You just unmuted yourself. Press it one more time.
Oh, wait, what did I press?
Whatever
I don't
you,
even know what I pressed.
Mr.
okay.
Chair, if she's on the phone, isn't it *6 to mute?
You know what? Let me
I
go
believe.
upstairs. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm
Miss
going
Lovell,
upstairs.
press star
Yes.
6. Are you on your phone? Are you on your phone? Press star 6 to
No,
mute.
no, no. Computer. I'm on the computer. *6.
Okay, so here what?
You
If you're
see
on your
no star.
computer, do you see a microphone that's green? Can you press that microphone and that will mute you?
I don't even see. I don't even
If you're
see
on your
me.
computer.
I'm going to go upstairs. It's okay. I'm going to go upstairs. It's all right. Let me go up. Oh,
Okay,
oh Lord.
Miss Duncan.
Yes.
Yes, let me see if I can find my keys.
All right, Miss Duncan.
Yes.
Right, I'm going
I
upstairs.
don't know. Next time I'll have to try to get control of the meeting to be able to mute people and help them out as best as I can. Miss Duncan, go ahead. Try to get through it as best as you can.
Well, again, I'm Mr. Duncan. Someone wrote in the comments. The reason why I stopped Mr. Stevens because someone wrote in the comments that she was in a stolen car, and my question would be, where did you get that information from, and if you were there? I am Chantel's oldest sister, and we had to do our own investigation at first to what happened, and then later get assistance from the district attorney, 3 of them. First, Hines, who passed, whatever, the 3 different attorneys, till we met up with Eric Gonzalez, who is now our district attorney, who also did an investigation, and that was never proven. The original information that came out about my sister were negative comments that who lived 4 blocks away at first didn't even know it was my sister that was killed on the street, and I saw it on the news. And the information was all dehumanizing, because that's what originally happens when you're in a situation like that. And then when you do get down to the facts of it, that clearer information never comes out about the person who was murdered by police. So a lot of if you have any questions about what happened, you should definitely speak to the family if you really want to know what happened, instead of like spreading the negative false narrative about something that is not proven. My sister was 23 at the time. She was in an accident because a dollar van had stopped short in front of her, and she crashed into the pole. Detective Atkins, who in our community, if you know anything about him, was named Bad Boy Atkins. And in 43 seconds from him approaching my sister's vehicle, he was pulling her out of the vehicle, and his gun discharged one shot in her chest. So he was not pursuing her. He wasn't necessarily trying to kill her, but that was his own accounts that his gun discharged while he was removing her from the vehicle, where she bled out on East 38th Street and Church Avenue. Now, all of that other information that was out there, like I said before, was dehumanizing. And as the family, we didn't originally get a chance to grieve, and nor do we have a chance to grieve. We have to grieve through this process of cleaning up my sister's name and making our community better since the incident happened. She was a member of East Flatbush community, and now she's a household name. And I'm going to continue doing the work in East Flatbush along with the supporters that we have. So I'm going to keep it short, but I do want, if you have any questions about it, I am on this board as well, and you could ask me.
All right. So, folks, if there are any other questions or any other responses, I'm looking through to see if anybody has their hands up. If not, we thank Ms. Duncan and Mr. Stevens for speaking about the co-naming, and we will go on to Miss Bynum, I believe it is. Miss Bynum or Miss Bunyan, sorry. I'm not looking at the chat because there's supposed to be a second code naming also on Erasmus, I believe, and Rogers. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So Miss Bunyan is going to represent and speak about who is that code naming for. We're going to have these two. So Miss Patricia Hunter Bunyan, can you please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so very much, and good evening to Community Board 17 and the Public Safety and Transportation Committee. I am Patricia Hunter Bunyan. My regrets to Chantel's family, who is also requesting a co-street naming. I am requesting that Erasmus Street and Bedford Avenue be renamed for my husband, John Herbert Bunyan, who was an educator, a teacher, dean of students, and first and foremost, his love for basketball, a basketball coach at Erasmus Hall High School for over 30 years. He was loved by the community, by the students that he encountered, and up until his death, he was actively involved with the Alumni Association of Erasmus Hall High School. And the reason that I am requesting a street naming for my husband is because he was so dedicated and so loved by his students. In fact, he maintained a relationship with his students after his retirement, and he was invited them back to his personal birthday celebrations and life celebrations. And he influenced and mentored and coached so many very successful men in the community and the students at Erasmus Hall High School. In fact, the Alumni Association and a mentoring program at Erasmus Hall High School honors him with tributes and memorial scholarships in his name. So it is befitting that my husband, who influenced so many people in that school, in that, be memorialized or remembered in a positive way. And I think that a street naming would be a great way to honor his legacy and keep his life and memories of him alive for the people that still live in the community. So I am asking, that this street co-naming take place for him. Thank you so very much. And if you have any questions about him, I am very happy and would be very pleased to answer anything that you might want to know about him and about his tenure at Erasmus Hall High School.
I'm looking through the chat. I don't see, not the chat, but I'm looking through the names. I don't see anyone, anyone raising any questions about that. So, again, we will just, we could have a referential vote. If not, the applications, I believe, already submitted to Ms. Fraser, District Manager Fraser. It was just to come to the committee for us to vote on it. But since we don't have quorum, I will still have it put on the agenda for June's meeting to have those voted by the board members on a whole. And we thank Ms. Banyan and also Natasha, Mr. Stevens for presenting for these two separate street co-namings. And we just hope that that once it's voted on and hopefully passed, that the memories and the legacies that were left back by these two distinct people will permanently be remembered in the community of East Flatbush. All right. So again, continuing after those two, now we will go into old business. If anyone has any old business. Well, for all business, the continuation of understanding about the express line or the line that is supposed to come from Queens. They didn't break ground. All they're doing now is testing and taking surveys and looking at what the I think it's it's leaving my mind right now. There's a proper name for that transportation, but it's actually going to be a monorail or a train line or above ground line that comes from Queens that goes all the way to I think it's Bay Ridge, right? And that is to help connect a lot of those communities that don't have access to a train line through those neighborhoods. There's a corridor where it's barely accessible by bus. So this is to help connect all of those dots. There were a couple meetings earlier this year on that, and they preliminarily they're just looking and they're doing studies now to find out, where it could go, what line they should use. They're looking at the old commercial line that passed from Bay Ridge through East Flatbush, through Midwood, and goes into Queens as part of that. That's the old, what we say, commercial container line that they used to pass through. It's the overpass in East Flatbush. It's the overpass at Utica and Farragut Road. You have another. You have it continues to Glenwood and like 46th Street. And then
Kings
after it
Highway.
goes down over. Well, it passes over Kings Highway also. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is true. Right. So again, it's there's studies looking at it, and I think a lot of what the MTA is betting on is balancing the budget with the congestion pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So they are using all of these things plus the infrastructure that they're doing as talking points. So all of the people that were actually suing, in particular, some of the union, the building construction trades and others were suing. But what the MTA did is that they said if they don't get the congestion pricing, they're going to slow down or stop the infrastructure that is happening right now.
Okay.
So it's there's a lot of wrangling going back and forth, and I mean, I think some of the unions had to change their position or stop the lawsuits because they have active members that are working on some of these infrastructure projects, and they have potential projects that were held over from since COVID,
Hmm.
right? So, so the MTA um, decided to pull a trump card, and I think a couple of them left the lawsuit based on that. So again, that's all in part of that, and that's part of the old business. Again, um, does anybody have anything for old business? I see Miss Bennett, you put your hands up.
Yes, it's about the infrastructure. Yeah, we have Ditmas on East 92nd. Then we have Remsen. Then we have Ralph Avenue. Then we have the area behind Avenue D back in there. It runs through that area. But yeah, Ralph, Ditmas. We have Kings Highway. We have Utica. And then we have Glenwood. And then we got Farragut. We have multiple places. So where exactly do they want to put the exit and entrance for that light rail? Did they
So
say?
they spoke about Utica Avenue and Farragut. As a matter of fact, Miss Martinez of Brooklyn Level Up actually had a meeting with Monique Waterman, Assemblyman Waterman, about that specific site, the one on Utica and Farragut, as that is one of the potential. I think there's one more stop that they were looking at somewhere. I believe it would have been possibly by Avenue H. By Avenue H, between Avenue H and Glenwood. The track goes down in, and it's not underground, it's still above ground, but instead of it being on the track up overhead,
Yeah, it's in
it
a
goes
ditch.
right. So they're talking about one. They're also possibly connecting it to Flatbush Avenue, the junction.
Yes.
right?
It
They're
runs.
talking
It
about
runs. Yeah,
having,
it runs over there.
right. So they're talking about possibly making that a connecting point,
Hmm.
right? That has been in discussion. So it's either will be closer to um Flatbush Junction, right where the 25 train is, or there will be
Yeah.
some type of connection, even if it's not right next to it, it'll be a connection that wouldn't be too far away, which you will be able to use a transfer if you need to, or whatever it is. All of those are the discussions, because again, they still have to do all the studies to figure out what that will entail in terms of, can they handle that kind of infrastructure in that area in
Mm.
terms of making a tunnel or making a entrance or access point in the junction there. So
Ah.
they did go through a couple. There was one other place, and it's right now it's skipping my mind, but next meeting, uh, which would be which would be in September, because we're not going to have a meeting in June because it's the end of the month, and after the general meeting, there are some other events that they're planning for new board members and so forth. And I don't want to have a meeting at the end to possibly hamper those plans. They happen to fall on dates inside of there. So, but again, we will rehash this and go over again in September, and or maybe invite Ms. Martinez to come back to see what Brooklyn Level Up would like to do in terms of having the community engaged in the process. So I could reach out to Ms. Martinez, Ms. Allison Martinez, and figure out
Mm-hmm.
next steps.
Okay.
Anyone with any other old business?
Hmm. Oh, I got one for you.
No.
Over on the intersection, the big intersection between where Ralph and Remsen and Kings Highway and Linden come together. For
Hmm.
some reason, they have been trouble having repair that leak. It just water just keeps bubbling up out the ground, and so far they haven't repaired it. It's been like that for 5 years.
Is that by the old gas station?
Yeah, opposite it. It's in that. Yeah, that's where it is. And it's just
Okay,
water
so
bubbling up. They patch it, comes right back up
is it in the street or is it on the sidewalk?
in the gutter.
Okay, so that more than likely is something that has to be dealt with um DP.
Yeah, I think something broke under there.
Yeah, DP and EPA, environmental protection.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to check that. I would have to reach out to the chair who is in charge of that to put that on his agenda to find out which liaison we have access to, or I could even talk to Miss Frazier.
Man,
And
fucking crazy because you the chair for that.
no, 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 well, for me, I'm public safety in terms of transportation. If you're
Transportation,
talking about the
transportation.
infrastructure in terms of water,
Yeah.
then we have our environmental and sanitation chair, Mr. Hill. So he
Oh,
has
okay.
to be involved with it also.
Oh, okay.
Even though I am DOT for the street,
Yes. Me
that
too.
the DOT will go back and say, oh, that pipe has nothing to do with DOT.
No, no. That's DEP. That's something on the ground.
Right, it's DEP or EPA. It all depends on jurisdiction. It's
Mhm.
jurisdictional.
They need to fix
Um.
that pipe.
All right, so I'll bring that to the attention of Miss Frazier and
All
Chair
right.
Hill.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else with old business? Okay. Anyone with new business? If not, Mr. Adams and Miss Bunyan, um, the third Wednesday in June It's a general board meeting at Downstate. I would like you guys to attend because once they go to vote on the renaming, more than likely they would ask you guys to come up and do speak and talk about the co-namings and about the folks that you want to immortalize on the co-naming of the streets. So there may be some questions from other board members. So that meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Let me look at the calendar
Thank you.
to see exactly what the day is in terms of to give you an actual date. So that would be June 19th, which is which is actually Juneteenth. I think they're moving the meeting.
No.
They're gonna move the meeting. I'll find out the exact date and I'll have Miss Frazier send you the exact date for that meeting. I think they were
Tuesday.
they were actually going to put it to the Tuesday,
Yes, they
June
did.
18th, right? The Commons chair decided not to have a meeting to do that because Juneteenth is a public holiday, and I believe all public, for the most part, will be closed. So we wouldn't have a meeting that night. So June 18th at 7 p.m. We would like to have you guys in attendance so that you guys could speak about the co-namings and answer any questions by the general board.
Absolutely. The Chantel Davis Committee Justice for Justice for the Community and Beyond. I believe I almost said that right. The Chantel Davis Committee for Justice and Beyond is a strong committee, and if I'm not able to make it, I'm quite sure that one of our other committee board members will be able to attend. So please mark us down for 7 p.m. June 18th. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. And I know Miss Duncan is going to be there, so she will be able to speak also. Miss Bunyan, we would like you to also be in attendance.
Yes, I will be in attendance. Thank you so very much. And I wanted to know if I could possibly invite some of his students to come along for the Zoom call to I guess to acknowledge and to address the importance of this street naming as it results in the fact that he was such a profound person in the lives of these successful students who are now members of the community.
Yeah, they could come. Not all of them might be able to speak, but maybe we could pick maybe one or two to give credence to what it's saying and to give support. I could try to find out from the chair in the meeting so you could bring them. Not all of them will be able to speak, but I would try to I would try to have the chair give at least maybe a couple minutes for for at least maybe two people to say something. And then that would be good. All right.
Okay, thank you so very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right. So anyone with new business? If not, since this is the last.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have my hands up, but you can see it. Just a quick question for Ms. Bunyan.
Okay.
I didn't go to Erasmus, but I'm familiar with Mr. Bunyan from way back in the 70s because I have a lot of friends at Erasmus. So it was a simple question. When was his last year at Erasmus? You know,
I think that
if you could remember. Mhm.
oh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think that he retired in 1994.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was just curiosity on my part because I knew a lot of his athletes. So, and I say I'm familiar with him from the way back in the 70s.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for that information.
Yeah, he loved Erasmus, and he used to talk about his trips, leaving our house and going to Erasmus and coaching. And the students were just so fond of him, and they still keep in touch with me, So I would love for him to have, the street naming to honor his legacy and his memory.
Thanks for the
Mr.
information.
Lewis, you called me? I'm sorry. You called me?
Not recently, Miss Lyons. Not recently.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. Let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more hands. Since we seem not to have any new business, I would like someone from the committee to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Oh, before I say that, let me just say have a safe and healthy summer. During June, July, and August, there are no scheduled meetings because at that time, we're out for the summer break. There is youth happening that happens in August. I think also this the spelling bee has been pushed over possibly into that time also. So those are two of the main events from the education committee that we have during the summertime. So again, everybody enjoy your summer.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's safe
yeah, we have
and,
National
and
Night Out.
healthy. Huh?
National Night Out in August.
National Night Out in August also. Okay,
Yes.
right, right. So look out for those. There should
Can I
be
ask a quick question?
yes. Hello.
Yes, night everyone. To make sure. Tonight is the last meeting until when?
September.
Okay.
The last. Possibly. I'm gonna go over. I may be changing the date from the Wednesday to the Tuesday.
Okay.
It all depends. Also too, in June we have elections for the executive positions in terms of those who sit on the rostrum. The chairman, first and second vice chair, the treasurer, which I am the treasurer, and the secretary of the board. Those elections will be happening in June also. So all of the board members that are current, there is elections coming up in June. So, so yeah, we will possibly be starting up in the either possibly the fourth. It would be the fourth Wednesday again or the fourth Tuesday. I'm gonna go over with Miss the district manager to make sure there's no conflicts. But I am thinking about changing it to the last Tuesday. So we will go from there.
And
So
one last thing, I noticed that not all the recordings of the meetings are on YouTube. I just need the recordings of the meetings just for this year, January until tonight. I
All
guess
right.
it's gonna be to YouTube, right?
Yeah, they should be uploading them. We Are you referring to the general board meeting, or are you referring to the public safety meeting?
Public Safety Transportation Committee only, just that one.
Only? Okay. So I'll be reaching out to DM Fraser, the ADM, our new ADM, Lucian Farah, as well as also the secretary who is in charge of media and communications, to find out how that could happen, or how it will be able to be put on the YouTube, so you could have it to be able to view. Okay?
Thank you. Have a good summer.
All right, you do the same. So again, thanks for everybody attending tonight. And I need one of the committee members to make a motion, and I need a second to adjourn the meeting.
Adele Bennett makes a motion to adjourn the Public Safety and Transportation Committee meeting for the month of May.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Monica McCain Brown at 8:45. Second the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you very much, everyone. Everyone have a good night. And thanks again. Night.
They have a blessed and safe summer.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. To
Good
safe
night.
summer.
Good night.